Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program this evening, as numbers emerge on the astounding number of communal incidents in UP since the Lok Sabha elections, the Congress goes on the offensive in Parliament and demands answers. They want to know about why this is happening, not just in UP, but in other parts of the country as well. Why are these numbers increasing? The BJP hits back at allegations that they are responsible in some way for inciting communal tensions. One way or the other, a heated discussion in Parliament is likely, perhaps a big debate in the coming week on Monday perhaps. The big question is sparking communal tension, the plan A of political parties in UP ahead of elections. Also coming up on the program, a day after his world exclusive on how Hamas assembles, deploys and fires rockets from civilian areas in Gaza, NDTV's Srinivasan Jain joins us live to look at both sides of what is a very dirty war.
That little girl is Haneen. She's just 4 years old. She was asleep in the bed when the shell landed. Her sister Yaqeen, just 1.5 years old, is in the intensive care unit. This is her cousin. This is Mahmood. He's 10 years old. He has a head injury. He also has shrapnel wounds in his legs, which are completely covered in blood.
Well, we'll come back to Srinivasan Jain later on this program, but first some breaking news coming in. The Cabinet has decided just in the last couple of minutes to amend the Juvenile Justice Act. Now those who are 16 years of age and above can be treated as adults and be tried accordingly in serious cases. Earlier, those below the age of 18 were treated as juveniles and faced significantly reduced penalties. Joining me now for more details, my colleague Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, there was a huge demand, particularly after the Nirbhaya rape case, that this is something that needed to be amended. Those who were younger, teenagers, were equally capable of carrying out the most gruesome crimes. There was a big debate on this. A lot of people felt that no, in fact, 18 was the appropriate age because it gave teenagers a chance to reform. But the government feels that no, that age needs to go down to 16.
Vishnu, to all the concerns that you have sounded, the Union Cabinet today has cleared the Juvenile Justice Amendment Bill. Now this bill, the government says, will try to bring it in this session of Parliament. The Parliament has, there are still few days left in this budget session. Primarily what it means, as you were saying, is the fact that after the Nirbhaya rape case, there was a general opinion that one of the accused got away very lightly. And now the new bill cleared by the government, which the government plans to pass in this session, will ensure that the juvenile justice boards will be empowered by this bill once it is passed and created as an act to decide whether the accused, in case of heinous crimes like murder, rape and others, if the crime is serious, then in case it is the Juvenile Justice Board which can be decided whether they can be tried by a juvenile board, where they can be tried by some kind of reform court, or have to go through a regular trial. And this is one thing which was being demanded by several social bodies. There was a tremendous amount of outcry. It went through several motions within the government. Most of the interministerial opinions were extremely clear on it. In fact, the Women and Child Justice Welfare Ministry was also very clear that something serious needs to be done, because not only the Nirbhaya case, but also in several other cases, there have been instances where the accused, because of being minor, less than 18 years old, has got away extremely lightly. Vishnu, also importantly, today's cabinet meeting, very importantly, has cleared two other landmark decisions in terms of FDI in both defense sector and in railways. In the defense sector, 49% will be the benchmark. The control will remain in the hands of the Indian entities. But in case of Indian entities or entities which are displaying path-breaking technology, are ready to invest in the country, the Cabinet Committee on Security has been empowered that it can decide what next as far as greater than 49% investment is concerned. Also, if railway was falling short of funds to improve its infrastructure, new sectors have been added as far as foreign direct investment in railways is concerned. The government will continue controlling the operations of railways. That will remain with the government of India. But as far as various other sectors like the high-speed trains, the sidings and tracks and others in infrastructure, 100% foreign direct investment will be allowed.
Okay, so
these
project-based
investment,
FDI, in different parts of the railways up to 100%.
Yes, Vishnu.
All right, Rahul, we'll leave it there. Three
That's
very
exactly
important.
what the government was looking at, but they were short of funds.
Okay, a very important series of decisions over there. Firstly, that age has been brought down from 18 to 16 in terms of treating people, whether they'd be treated as juveniles or they'd be treated as adults in very serious cases. 49% foreign direct investment now being allowed in the defense sector. There was a clamor for even more, but the government has restricted that to 49%. And very significantly, the Indian Railways FDI in projects which the government believes deserves foreign direct investment, that can go all the way up to 100%. We're going to move on to our big focus this evening. The Congress stalled Parliament today, demanding, among other things, a full-fledged discussion on the communal situation in the country. This comes at a time when new data indicates clear-cut polarization, for example, in UP, in those areas where elections are going to be held for by-elections. As the BJP and the Congress slugged it out in Parliament today, we look at the shocking numbers emerging and ask, is sparking communal tension the plan A of political parties in UP ahead of the polls? Well, joining us now to debate this, Chandan Mitra, Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP, Ashwani Kumar with me in the studio, Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress, Gaurav Bhatia, head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party, Professor Ashutosh Varshney, director of the India Initiative, Brown University in the United States, and Amir Raza Hussain, the well-known theatre personality. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Gaurav, let me come to you first. Since the Lok Sabha elections, there have been over 600 communal incidents in Uttar Pradesh. 60% are taking place near seats going for elections. Who is responsible for this?
No, Vishnu, I think you're relying on the Indian Express story, or what is the source? If you can just tell me, it would really help.
The source are police reports.
Because this is not the correct number.
The source are police reports, right? The Indian Express report, and we've corroborated some of these police reports. They are basing this on what the police has noted down and defined as communal incidents. 600 since the Lok Sabha elections.
No, then let me just tell you then that the police comes under the state government according to the constitution. It's a state subject, and I also have the numbers from the Home Department, and they are less than 50. I can give you the exact numbers also. I'll have to dig them out. But then this number does not seem to be correct. However, I would just like to say this, that every incident that is happening in state of UP, we have seen that a political party, namely the BJP, is trying to give it a communal picture. It happened in Muradabad, then we saw it in Meerut again, where heinous crime like rape was committed, and the BJP leaders reached the spot. They were trying to tutor the victim to give a specific 164 statement.
Sir, I've got examples of how Samajwadi Party leaders have also reached other spots, sir. So how can you say the Samajwadi Party isn't involved?
Those examples, and I'll try to. I am saying this because you know what happened in Muradabad when two communities came together to enter into an agreement, and they peacefully amicably sorted out the issue. It was the BJP leaders that reached the spot, violated the section 144 orders of the government.
Okay, Gaurav, I'll get Chandan Mitra to respond to that. Please. But you make a point. You say the BJP was involved, but let me make another point. Okay, June 23rd.
And one more thing.
No, but Gaurav, bear me out for a moment. You raised a particular point. The Samajwadi Party has mentioned this several times. And questions have been raised on the Samajwadi Party as well. So let me give you one example. 23rd of June this year, a Hindu priest was knifed in Nehtor in Bijnor. There was a mob of 200 people who arrived, yes, with the BJP's Nehtor in charge. But there was, within minutes, a Muslim delegation which arrived with the Samajwadi Party's local unit in charge. So if you are accusing the BJP of adding to tension in the area, how is the Samajwadi Party any less involved?
Yeah, Vishnu, the answer to your question is that for the government, you cannot go by religious lines. The only duty under the constitution is to book the guilty persons.
Precisely.
And two examples to show you that irrespective of the religion, the state government has acted. In the Saharanpur case, the accused happened to be from the minority
community. But whatever, how is it then that Samajwadi Party leaders on the ground go in with minorities numbering in hundreds?
If you interrupt me,
Okay, carry on, Gaurav. I won't interrupt.
I will not be able to make my point. And if you don't find logic, you can always tell me that I am being irrational or I don't have the facts. So you can do that. But let me make my point.
You are being irrational.
So I was giving you example of Saharanpur, where the accused person was from the minority community. National Security Act was invoked and 75 FIRs have been registered against him. In the case of Meerut incident also, let me tell you that out of the 4 named accused persons in the FIR, they belong to the minority community. They were arrested promptly. Now, please understand the point that I'm trying to make. The same Indian Express report that you are referring to, I might not agree with the numbers because the source was not shown there. But at the same time, there is a trend that wherever by-elections are to be held, there are more incidents of communal tension. And the fingers are being pointed at the BJP. So
okay. Gaurav, you made lots of points, and that brings us to the heart of the debate. So, Gaurav, let me go to my other panelists, and we've got plenty of time. Mr. Mitra, this is what the Indian Express articles were actually talking about. 60% of these incidents in Uttar Pradesh have taken place near areas where there are going to be elections which are going to be held. The Samajwadi Party very clearly on this program says in many instances the BJP has been inciting this. How do you respond, sir?
Well, Vishnu, I think I would like to make a larger point. I don't want to go into the specifics of each and every riot that has happened, and there have been hundreds. I mean, whether it is 600 or 300 or 400 is
so
not
they say
so
there have
material.
been only 50 cases.
I think he may,
his
police department will obviously press the numbers down, but let us get away from these numbers. The fact is that there is a conspiracy at the moment masterminded by the Samajwadi Party to create widespread riots, just widespread riots all over Western UP because some by-elections are approaching. And they believe that this kind of communal polarization is what is going to help the Samajwadi Party in the elections. They have learnt no lessons. Last time they tried to do that, starting with Muzaffarnagar, and they got wiped out. Except for 5 family members of their party supremo, nobody got elected. BJP won 73 seats. In spite of that, there is an attempt in which I think several parties, not just the Samajwadis, others are also involved. They want to create a massive scale communal polarization so that there are widespread riots.
And the BJP is not, or local leaders of the BJP are not involved in any way. That's what you're saying, sir?
No, the local leaders of BJP are not involved. Nothing has ever been proved against them. Every effort has been made to blame them.
Vishnu,
but there is nothing that sticks to any of the BJP leaders.
Gaurav, I'll come to you in a moment. Ashwini Kumar, respond to that. He says this is the Samajwadi Party and other parties which are involved in Uttar Pradesh. No proof against any BJP involvement.
I have to make a larger point before I respond to what has been said before me. The larger point is that is this sudden spurt of hundreds of communal instances, not only in UP, but in other parts of the country. We've seen the Sania Mirza incident.
Where? Other parts where? Name those other parts.
Oh, good God. Can I didn't interrupt you, Mr. Chandan Mitra.
No, you can't.
Can I please have a civilized debate for you with once?
No,
anyway,
no, but I want you to name those other parts. Where are those parts?
You would, if only you had listened to me, you would have known what I was saying. Can you hold your horses for a moment? Anyway, I am addressing you, I don't think I need to get into this with him. There is a sudden spurt of communal incidents in many parts of the country. The Sania Mirza incident.
Which parts?
The Sania Mirza incident is a case in point.
Sorry, that is not a communal incident.
I don't think.
Okay, Mr. Mitra, you asked a pertinent point. I will ask that question to Mr. Kumar right after he completes this answer. I will ask him that question about where the other incidents are happening. But why don't you continue with your point?
The Sania Mirza point is an indication of an emerging mindset. The Chapati incident is another incident of this mindset. The fight between SGPC and HSGPC on the issue is an indicator of an emerging mindset. The UP communal incidences are an indication of that mindset. This is too serious a debate to score political points vis-a-vis parties. The country is facing a communal challenge. One is seeing a spurt in these incidents, and is it entirely fortuitous that what has been stated in the Indian Express, that that 1/3 of the communal incidents are arising in areas,
2/3.
Well, according to one, it's 200 out of 600 is one of the figures. Or whatever. Yeah. Even if it is 1/3, all 2/3 are emerging in areas where BJP MPs have got elected, and there are going to be elections within 6 months. These are not fortuitous circumstances. Now, I am only saying this to you and to the people of India through your channel, that this is a serious issue which has now again surfaced in a manner which coincides with a kind of ideology that is now on the resurgence in the country. And this is a serious issue, it's a grave issue. So let us not only talk about one instance here or one party there. All such trends need to be treated as a national challenge, to be combated by all, and more so by the government of the day. Because
no, but you asked a specific question earlier about where other incidents were taking place, because we were focusing on UP. You say other instances.
Incidents have taken place even in Maharashtra.
Okay.
And who is responsible is for the police to find out. I'm not getting into
who's
into
ruling Maharashtra?
It is not a question of
ruling.
It is not. It is governments are not. Governments are not. Governments are not being accused. Governments are not being accused of fostering incidents. What is now being told to us is who is ruling. Mr. Chandan Mitra, if you want to become a minister, there are better ways of doing it rather than have an uncivilized debate on national television. I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. You owe me that courtesy. You owe me that courtesy.
No, but you can't get away with these.
Well, I didn't interrupt you.
Okay, all right.
The fact is that your party's emergence as a ruling party in the center has led to this spurt in communal violence throughout the country. That's a fact.
All right. Okay, Mr. Mitra, do you want to quickly retort to that before I go across to my other panel?
He's already been retorting.
He's
already been retorting.
You made a specific point. Let him reply to that.
This is a kind of the mindset he represents. He will not let anybody say, even on national television. This is the RSS BJP mentality.
I'm sorry, but you cannot.
This is the RSS BJP mentality.
You cannot get away.
You have not even the courtesy. You would not even show the courtesy of a civilized debate. It is unfortunate.
But you cannot get away with a litany of lies.
You can't get away.
Gentlemen,
you cannot get away by
Mr. Chandan Mitra.
I will not let you.
Now both of you are shouting, and we can't. We're trying to debate this. Mr. Mitra, just wait for a moment. We've got lots and lots of issues on this. I will come back to both of you in a moment. Professor Ashutosh Vashri, if you look at the situation once again in Uttar Pradesh, and if you look at how this is happening, one of the most striking reasons why communal incidents are happening is because of the use of speakers. It's absolutely absurd how speakers have turned into an instrument of communal polarization. There are some numbers. 120 of 600 of these incidents have been triggered by speakers. Hindus saying that that speakers in mosques are creating a problem, and vice versa. It almost sounds absurd, but this has become a tool in many of these areas.
Yes, but this is not new. I have, as you know, written a book on the subject, extensively investigated riots since 1950, and have returned to the subject off and on. This is not new. Speakers have been used in the past, and Holi has been used in the past, Diwali has been used in the past, wrestling has been used in the past. So this is not new. I think the larger point is simply this: from the point of view of a researcher, let Chandan and Ashwini fight a partisan battle. I'm not in that battle.
Nor do I want to fight a partisan
from a researcher's point of view, basically this is what happens when the BJP government comes to power. Three forces are unleashed. Three kinds of forces are unleashed. One is that the cadres or the foot soldiers of the BJP, or they don't have to be BJP, they could be VHP or Bajrang Dal, the foot soldiers feel emboldened by the arrival of BJP in power, and they exert themselves in ways that can be either openly communal or can be interpreted as communal. Second kind of force that is unleashed is Muslim right, almost always true. There are some politicians, Muslim politicians, who actually sense an opportunity when BJP comes to power and would like to polarize, to present themselves, polarize Hindus and Muslims, to present themselves as Muslim saviors. And the third kind of force that is unleashed is some other parties which might be politically insecure. And in the case of UP, one has to say that from the perspective of research, it would seem that the government, the party running a UP government, is feeling insecure, especially because of what has happened in the Lok Sabha elections. But it doesn't have to be that party. It could be other parties feeling insecure, sensing an opportunity, trying to polarize, and because it can be easily blamed on the BJP. So you have what might be called strategic behavior on the part of non-BJP parties and ideological behavior on the part of BJP cadres or Hindu nationalist cadres on the ground. This leads to a tinderbox. This has happened again and again.
Well, you've summarized it. You've really summarized many of those points. Chandan Mitra, before I come to you, I just want to go across to Amir Raza Hussain. So if you look at, you've had Professor Varshney speak about the role of political parties or the role of political forces and how this is in a sense engineered, if I can use that word. But if you look at the actual on the ground situation in Uttar Pradesh and what are the major issues, the construction activities involving masjids, the use of loudspeakers, madrasas and kabristans. And it's become so delicate now that if there is a motorcycle incident involving a Hindu and a Muslim, that becomes a communal flashpoint. Are we in perhaps the most dangerous situation that we have been in this country in a very long time as far as UP is concerned?
No, absolutely.
Vishnu, we are just one more second.
We are in.
Professor Varshney, one moment. Amir Raza Hussain, go ahead, sir.
Yes.
We are in a
wrestling matches in Aligarh and wrestling matches in Hyderabad historically led to riots. So this has happened before. This is well documented.
Okay, I take that point. We'll discuss that in a moment.
Whether it's loudspeakers, whether it's a motorcycle incident, whether it's an eve-teasing incident, anything can lead to a communal riot, and we have seen in the past that we have not required a communal problem for a riot to occur. Whereas Professor Varshney says that when BJP comes to power, there is a certain unleashing of the cadres of Hindu parties, and some Muslim leaders, I don't know if that is true. I mean, we've been through 6 years of Atal Bihari Vajpayee's rule, and there was no unleashing of Hindu cadres at that time. I don't know what it is this time. I think it is probably the fact that the current government has come on a very, very thin communal election. An election that has been very aggressive, an election that has been very divisive, and now where there are no signs from the government in power that they are actually reaching out to an inclusive population, that perhaps is the reason why there is posturing on both sides. Now, having said that, I think these ridiculous things like loudspeakers, I think we should just ban loudspeakers, the use of loudspeakers in every mosque, gurdwara, temple in the country. I don't think that really harms us. But while this debate is going on, I need to mention something which is really extremely stupid, which I read in the papers this morning, that there were people in Parliament, the TMC and the Congress, who were saying, you know, Prime Minister has not held Eid Iftar, Prime Minister has not wished the Muslims Eid Mubarak on Eid. I think these are really some absolutely ridiculous things.
How do you ban?
Prime Minister,
so how do you ban loudspeakers?
Whether the Prime Minister
just a practical question: how do you ban, or why should anybody ban loudspeakers in a mosque when the azan is called?
Because they disturb the, you know, when you have an azan at 5 o'clock in the morning, or if you have some temple starting to starting their bhajans at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's a debatable point, and it's debatable that loudspeaker is a technology. It's the forces which command the loudspeakers which are the issue over here. So I mean, but that being said, Vishnu, Gaurav, go ahead. You have a point to make.
Can I come in, Vishnu?
Yes, Gaurav.
Vishnu, the issue of speaker, I would just give you an example of Muradabad. The two communities can always come together, and believe me, there would be no communal tension and riots because it can be amicably sorted out just the way it was done in Muradabad. The worrisome part is when the BJP leaders step in and they try to communalize small trivial issues between two communities which are being sorted out by them. And I'll give you a number which is really worrisome but pertinent, that if you look at the report by Association of Democratic Reforms regarding the MPs in the last Lok Sabha, there is section 153A of the IPC which talks about inciting communal feelings and hurting religious feelings. Out of the 19 total MPs that were elected, 10 of them were from the BJP. Now this year again, be it Yogi Adityanath or Brij Bhushan Tiwari or LK Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and 2 more MPs, all have been either charged or named in the FIR under
how are you linking them to communal situations?
For heaven's sake, Mr. Bhatia.
I will tell you how. I will tell you how.
Gaurav, let Chandra Mitra respond to that. Chandra Mitra, go ahead, sir.
Yeah,
let me make my point.
Party with Azam Khan in his bosom is talking about other parties being communal. Your leaders make the most provocative speeches. You have all these people coming and addressing this.
Can I make my point? I think
you have made a very significant point, and you've named top leaders of the BJP. Let him respond to that.
Azam Khan inside in his party, he is talking about communalization.
Now can I come in?
Go ahead.
Riots are going on in your state, Mr. Bhatia, and you have failed to control. It is simple failure of control.
Mr. Chandra Mitra, if you want to debate riots and communal incidents, let me cite the reply given by the minister in the parliament, and maximum number of riots and communal incidents going by the rate of incidents are in Madhya Pradesh. If you are not aware, see the report on the floor of the parliament that was given by the minister.
You know what is going on in UP. Are you denying?
All of them.
Are you denying that UP, you have created a situation in which riots are happening every few hours?
There is a party. There is a party called the Bharatiya Janata Party which is trying to...
But Gaurav, these numbers are again debatable. If you look at the numbers among states ruled by the BJP and states ruled by the Congress, between 2011 and 2013, it's more or less the same. It's 664 instances, right, where the Congress has run states, and 651 in BJP run states. So it's not right to say that any one party is more or less involved.
Then let me explain. You're missing the point here. Let me just talk about the 2012
Professor Varshney, half a second.
Okay. 2012, Madhya Pradesh saw 92 incidents of communal incidents. UP saw 118,
you have obviously,
but you are aware,
you obviously have
political
party representation.
Mr. Mitra and Gaurav, again, I just want to go across to my other panelists, Mr. Varshney first, and then Mr. Ashwini Kumar. Very briefly, Professor Varshney.
Okay. Well, you have representatives of political parties on this panel, and they would obviously present their own positions, and these are likely to be partisan positions, and you would expect them to be so. Now, the fact of the matter is that from the perspective of a researcher, Hindu-Muslim division in India is the so-called master narrative of Indian politics. not south of Hyderabad, but right up to Hyderabad.
Okay.
Right. So this master narrative exists. A lot of trivial incidents have repeatedly been in India's modern history inserted into this master narratives by all kinds of parties.
Okay.
You can say BJP has inserted them more than others, but all kinds of parties have inserted trivial incidents, wrestling matches, loudspeakers, throwing pigs into mosques, music before mosques, killing of cows, sometimes not actually killing of cows.
Okay, so I take your point. I take your point of
Muslim boys going out with Hindu girls.
Of all these things have happened.
So,
Professor Vashne, Ashwini Kumar has been waiting very patiently. I want him to make this point. We're running short of time.
Well, Vishnu, let me just tell you this. Let's get away from Tutu Meme because the debate is far too serious. It concerns the unity and integrity of India. The three questions I would like you to address and your panelists to address and the nation to know are the following. Is the secular conscience of India under siege? Are the fault lines relating to the divisive forces in the country around religion and caste still visible 67 years after independence or not? I feel they are. Third, is it true or not that from social engineering to polarization is the graph of politics in this country? Is it true or not that after the emergence of BJP to power, we are seeing a spurt in the communal incidents in many parts of the country? All these 4 points are debatable, all these 4 points are clearly visible. No. Everything can be debated. Truth itself is debatable, depending from which perspective. Numbers tell a story, but the underlying premise of communal tension emerging and resurging is a painful reality.
But so why is it emerging
and why is it emerging and where is it emerging?
But sir, a lot of people. So the point I'm saying is, you made a that there's a resurgence of communal incidents with the BJP coming to power.
Yes.
1983, Delhi.
No, not at all.
Yes.
Congress was in power. 819 Muslims killed. Delhi, 1984, 2,733 Sikhs. Congress was in power. Ahmedabad riots of 69. For 512
we have those details.
Congress. No, but these are important. Last year, 2013, Assam government, Congress government, 97 dead. So when you're talking about resurgence,
no,
where is the resurgence? It's always
all right. I'm glad you're asking. Now let me respond to you. Let me respond to you because you are a more civilized questioner. It is nobody's case that communal incidents have taken place for the first time. No. See the pattern, see the scale, see the style. It was never so before. I'm the first person to say that communal tensions have risen in various parts of the country and therefore it is a national challenge. However, the fact remains that of late one is seeing this resurgence being sought to be legitimized. Different kinds of speeches are being made in different parts of the country. Now the bigots, those who are bigoted and those who are hardliners are increasingly seeking acceptance and legitimacy for their political discourse in the country.
Last two comments, Mr. Mitra first. Yeah, and then Amir Raza Hussain. Mr. Mitra, very briefly, sir.
I have said this. Yeah, very briefly. One muhavra. 900 चूहे खाके बिल्ली चली हज को. This is exactly Mr. Ashwini Kumar. They have been the biggest killers.
Wrongly applied.
Of the minorities. Biggest killers.
Okay.
Biggest killers. From every day you take your Nelly, Hashimpura, Maliana.
So we've gone through these. I'm out of time. Amir Raza Hussain, last comment to you, sir.
Everywhere.
Amir Raza Hussain, sir, last comment to you. Very short, sir.
For Chandan Mitra, 900 billi khake haj ko chali applies to you and your party. And to nobody else.
No. Let's stop personalizing this. Mr. Hussain, last point, sir. You're going to have to shout it out. But go right ahead, sir.
I think in support of Ashwini Kumar, I think what he's missed out and what he's perhaps trying to say is, of course, communal riots have taken place through the last 70, 65 years of this country's history. But what is happening now, unfortunately, is an all-pervasive fear, an all-pervasive, divisive fear that is dividing the country. And that is what we are feeling, that this fear is going to be the salient feature of all elections to come. And I think that is what is going wrong.
Okay, I think that's a larger issue and a very pertinent issue and a very pertinent point. But I need to end this debate, Gaurav. I'm completely out of time. It's that sense of fear. Is it based on fact? Is it based on fiction? The numbers seem to suggest that there is something frightening happening on the ground in Uttar Pradesh. Can this be reversed? I'd like to thank our panelists very much for joining us this evening. I'm going to take a short break, but up after that, Srinivasan Jain, our managing editor, joins us from Israel a day after his world exclusive on how Hamas has been assembling rockets and firing them in Gaza into Israel. The larger issue there in this very dirty war.
Right, Vishnu, thanks very much indeed. Yes, our report from Gaza did go viral around the world, but at the same time, it sparked a raging debate on who's fighting the dirtier war. We'll debate that after the break.